Hey everyone, welcome to this week's new episode of Fiction in Real Life. We're really happy to have you, and we have a special episode today coming up to celebrate back to school, which some of the moms are lamenting and some of the moms are celebrating. I'm in the lamenting category personally, but all my kids are in college now anyway, so all right. Anyway, I did want to say that we are missing someone, and she is having some internet issues. So hopefully, Jen will be able to join us in a minute. But we are low key celebrating the release of her newest book, um, which is A Tenuous Betrothal and number 3 in the Royal Regency Romances. And it just released last week. So we're giving away a copy of A Torn Allegiance, which is book 2 in the Royal Regency Romance series. So all you have to do is comment on this post or any one of our posts or even on our YouTube channel to enter to win a copy of A Torn Allegiance. All right, let's go around and say what everyone's up to these days. Jenny, let's start with you.
Well, I have a big announcement. I finally finished the book that I've been working on for the last 9 months, and I'm really excited about it. Educating Elizabeth is done. So now when someone says, what are you working on? I'm going to have something new. Right now, I'm like working on catching up on cleaning my house and all the Netflix I'm behind on and these books I wanted to read. So anyway, yay, done.
Yay! Heather?
Awesome. I've talked a little bit about my World War II book set in Indonesia. So I turned that in on Monday to my publisher. So there might be still lots of editing work to go, but at least I got to that stage. So I'm really happy about that. And kind of like Jennifer is I'm kind of looking at things around my house like, oh, I should probably clean out some cupboards and drawers.
Nice. All right. Well, I don't really have anything super exciting to say other than I'm still doing some research to get going on this new super exciting project that I'm looking forward to. It's something a little bit different. So like I said, we're going to do a little bit of a school theme today. So we will start with Jennifer Moore's story.
Okay. So my story is not even really a story. It's just a weird thing that my high school did. And it was in the 80s. So it was just before I was in high school. They stopped, and you'll see why they stopped. It's obviously a bad idea. But it was like my cousin, my older cousins, and my friends' older brothers and sisters that went to my high school always talked about this. What it is it was called Jaws on the Wall. And the high school had a pool with no windows. I think up at the front, maybe there was like glass doors. I can't quite remember. And it's been torn down now. But anyway, at night, it was totally dark, and they would get a projector and show Jaws. I should have looked up what year Jaws came out. I don't know if Jaws was new or old. I was not allowed to watch Jaws when I was a young kid. So I don't know if it had been out for a while. I don't know. But they would show Jaws on the wall of the swimming pool, and kids, teenagers, I guess, would have, and I don't know if adults, I don't know. I don't really know. I just know what I've heard from the older kids. They would have pool floaties or little rafts and stuff, and they would all be in there and watch it with like the dark water under them. And you can imagine like people would be like slipping into the water and grabbing, and there would be screaming and stuff like that the whole time. And it was obviously a giant liability. And I can't believe that, nothing crazy ever happened that I heard of. But that's our weird high school story of Jaws on the Wall.
So I think that is awesome.
Yeah. It's kind of sad they stopped it because,
Yeah, that is sad, but that's hilarious too. So would you book it, Jennifer?
Definitely. Weird high school tradition. I would love that. I love that to make a story have, kind of a small hometown feel by showing some of the funny things they do in their town. So yeah.
Heather, would you book it?
So if I were to ever write a shapeshifter book, I think I would book it, because I think it would be cool if like this super innocent, fun event, movie night, and all of a sudden one of the students turns into a shark because the student is a shapeshifter. And maybe they don't even know they're a shapeshifter. Or maybe they do, but they have to be there because like the class president, and they're like, no, I'll just sit on the side. I'm going to not get in the water, because every time he gets in the water, or she, they turn into a shapeshifter.
Or a mermaid. Yep. Like Splash. Nice.
Oh yeah, and then like the person they have a crush on turns into a mermaid.
And
but
save
maybe,
them.
yeah, so
You've got a story.
So
Yeah,
it's halfway
no
written
idea.
already. All right. I think I also would book it. And I think I would also probably put a twist on it. But knowing me, my twist would be that there is an actual shark in the water. And pretty soon it's bloody water.
So like a
But,
horror,
yeah.
like a horror, yeah. I'm not surprised, Julie.
But it would also be a cute opening scene for a book, like a cute little YA romance, where the two kind of meet each other and through the scaring of, I don't know, sharks in the water. Anyway, that's hilarious that your high school used to do
Yeah,
that.
it's not funny.
Oh, maybe
Okay.
it just said 1975. Is
Oh,
that
it's when Jaws came out.
Wow.
Oh.
So it had been out for a while by,
Yeah, so I must have been older when I saw it because I was like a little tiny kid then. I was like 1. Just kidding.
we definitely did not go to the premiere of Jaws.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our next story, I'll just go ahead and tell that one myself. It is about this 10-year-old girl, and her name is Samantha Smith. And she was lived in like a small town in Maine, but she was, I think, a pretty, precocious for her age. And she was an activist in peace. This was, like I said, in 1982, that she decided that she was going to take matters into her own hands. And she wrote a letter to Yuri Andropov, who was the leader of the USSR at that time. And she just wrote him this straight up letter of like, are you going to have war or are you not? Everyone in the United States is worried about getting into a nuclear war. And she was like, this is the question you have to answer. Why do you want to conquer the world, or at least our country? God made the world for us to share and take care of, not to fight over and have one group own it. And so she just straight up wrote all this to him. And he didn't answer. There was no answer. So she even wrote back saying, why aren't you answering me? So finally, she actually did get a letter from Andropov that invited her to come to the USSR. I mean, of course, he said that the Soviets want peace and we are a peaceful country and all that kind of stuff. And war is terrible. And then he said, why don't you come to the USSR and check it all out? So she did. She and her parents got in the plane and flew over to the USSR, and she got a nice tour of a lot of different places. And she became super famous for that. In the picture, she's the one in the middle holding like that little handbag. And so anyway, there's like a monument to her in Russia and all this stuff. She was like this big ambassador for peace at just the age of 10. I think she was actually 11 by the time she got over there. But the tragedy is she only lived a few more years and then was killed in an airplane crash in 1985. So that was really a kind of a sad life, but also I just really loved the moxie that this young girl had to just really, send that letter to Russia. So
Wow, that's amazing because that was right. That's actually kind of toward the end of the Cold War. The Berlin Wall came down in 88 or 1989, so that was just a few years before that all changed. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe she was a huge influence.
Maybe. I just really love that at such a young age, she was able to, make people think and act on that kind of thing. We'll ask Jen very first since she just joined us. Hi. Finally got her internet working.
Welcome, Jen.
It's been rough, but yeah.
This was supposed to be her story to tell anyway. So Jen, would you book it?
I for sure would. I apologize I wasn't here. I've been desperately trying to get spinning bars turned into real actual internet. But I love her kind of story. She's all about everything I love to write, like a female who's brave and tries to make things happen within her own ability, right? Like whatever you can do, you just try to do to make change. So yeah, I love it. I would absolutely book this.
Okay. How about you, Heather?
I'm kind of torn. I mean, because she seems like such a sweet, cute girl. But I've written a Cold War book that's set in Germany, and I don't know. Maybe since I've done a lot of research, it wouldn't be quite as daunting. So I'm just gonna say book it, because if I'm always on the fence, I think I should go with the more positive side. But I mean, the story's fun, and I think there's probably a lot more things that you can really create around the story, like maybe even have one of the characters be Russian that has to be her host or hostess, and there could be just some cool plot threads there to explore.
Yeah. I think that I honestly would not book it. And that is only because I feel like it would be a middle grade book. And I just don't write middle grade. I don't know that I could get honestly in the mindset of a middle grade kid. But if someone else wanted to write it, it would make an awesome middle grade historical fiction about that, because she seems like such a really fun character to write about. Jen, how about you? Jennifer?
Yeah, I the same thing. I don't think I'd book it. I don't write middle grade, and I'm not a big reader of middle grade or anything. But if I did, I would have to change it and make her a little bit older, make, something like that, a little more relatable for me. And I also just have so many questions about that story. Like, how do you send a letter to the president of the Soviet Union? Could we do that? Could I send a letter to Vladimir Putin and tell him to get out of Ukraine? we could, I don't know. It just is a very cool story.
Yeah. Maybe if we rounded up all the 10-year-olds and got
Yeah.
them.
That's who you listen to.
Right?
You listen to a kid. That was very cool.
It does
If
feel like
she-
it would be a great Magic Treehouse book.
Yeah. If she had lived longer, who knows? She would probably be running everything. She'd probably be the president.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good point. All right. Well, it looks like we lost Jen again.
Oh, those are
She might,
frustrating
she might
today.
still be there. Maybe we could hear her.
I'm here.
Oh, there's the
Don't move.
back. So anyway, that wraps up today's episode. So let's see what else. Oh, don't forget to email us if you have any kind of story that you think is weird, out of the ordinary, stranger than fiction, especially this coming for our next episode, which is September 7th. We are especially looking for any kind of stories about travel or airplanes or stuff like that, because the exciting news is that the Romance on the Orient Express is going to England. So stay tuned for some super fun special episodes coming up in the next couple weeks about that. Anything else anyone wants to add?
Oh, just a reminder, if you make a comment on any of our Facebook pages or YouTube channel, you'll be entered to win this book, The 20 Legions by Jen. So,
okay, well, that wraps it up for today. Thanks for joining us for fiction. Oh, sorry, for
Fiction.
Ian.
real.
Like.
Yay.
See you later.